Okay, we're going to finish this parak, the last parak second to the last parak. Next parak we're going to get to is the one that deals with the day of Yom Kippur, the Ge'os Halacha L'Maisa. So there's we said that these are the three people who can ask Vorim V'Tumim. The Melech, the Av Bezdin, and Misha Tzibet Tzarech. You can ask them Vorim V'Tumim. So tonight's share is going to be spent discussing two things. One, the Kohen HaMeshuach L'Mulchama. There's a special Kohen who was in charge of when they went to war. He would go ahead and give the speech. He would tell the people, someone who was like not the Karem, you just planted a Karem. Someone who just got married, go back. This one goes back. That one goes back. This one goes back. He's called the Kohen Meshuach L'Mulchama. Rav Dimi is going to say that he's mishamish with the 8 begodim. We're going to have a discussion whether that's true or not. That's the first part of the share, and the second part of the share is solely discussing the Urim V'Tumim, and we'll discuss the Urim V'Tumim biyun. We'll discuss somehow certain. It's a fascinating subject because it's very obscure exactly what the Urim V'Tumim was. Okay, so Bez Hashem, we're up to. No. Whether when he does the avodah, does he wear the 8 begodim? Yeah, no, he doesn't wear it. You can't wear it in Medina, right?
Right. So I was wondering that was.
No.
I thought when they ask, he's always by the order, isn't he? When they do the asking.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out whether it's true or not. Okay. Okay, so Ayin Beis Lamed Beis, 4 lines up. Beilun Shalom Borim V'Tumim. Kiyasser Rav Dimi. When Rav Dimi came up from he had gone to Eretz Yisrael. He learned by Rabbi Yochanan, and he came back to Bavel. Amar begodim she Kohen Gadol mishamish behem. The 8 begodim that the Kohen Gadol is mishamish when he does the avodah. Mishuach Melchama mishamish behem. If the Mishuach Melchama does the avodah, he's mishamish for them. And obviously, it doesn't mean right. Look at Rashi, guys. Mishamish behem. Halfway up. In Bol Lavoy bebeis Hamikdash loivish kesh begodim. He wants to avoid the mistake of Chaim. Not the mistake. He's about warning, right? What do you mean? Obviously, he can't be wearing them outside the Medina. We had the whole thing with Shimon HaTzadik. Guys, connect us Shimon HaTzadik. How can he go ahead and wear them outside? So he said either they were just me'ain or there was Eis Lassos Hashem. Right over here, so Rashi's saying, don't think when he's giving his speech. If he comes to do the avodah, he wears the 8 begodim. If he comes to do the avodah, he wears the 8 begodim. I love the way Rashi always goes there and tells you, if you mistake, he points you mistake. This is geschmack. Anyway, Shneimar, it says, "Ubigdei hakodesh shel Aaron, the big day hakodesh that are to Aaron, they shall be lebanav achrav, lemisha ba bigdula achrav." Someone who comes bigdula afterwards. Someone who comes to gedula afterwards. That's a person or just without a name. We know if the son of a Kohen Gadol is royal lekach, he takes his place. So I might think as well that if the Meshuach Melchama is royal lekach, that he takes his place. Talmud Leimer, it says what? Shivas yomim, 7 days, you'll be shem hakoyin tachtav mi banav. Asher yavo elol moyed. Misha roy lavo elol moyed. Right, someone is right to come into the oil mayed. Vim Isa, that what? That the Meshuach Melchama, they wears the 8 begodim. Michsi Chazi, he's right to come out into the oil mayed. Says Rashi. Let's see Rashi the Kasha, guys. Second line now. Vim Isa, the Beches begodim who mishamish kol hashana. Hai nami, this person means Meshuach Melchama. Michsi Chazi, dichsev b'Yom Kippur. Right, so Lachayra, you see the Emisa that he wears the begodim. So the Gemara is asking, why shouldn't the son of the Meshuach Melchama, if any time he does the avodah during the year, he wears it? So obviously, should be why the commentary al Mayib for that reason. I'm not sure if I understand that reasoning, but that's what the Gemara says. So it doesn't mean what you think it means. Not someone who wears the 8 begodim, but anyone who's ikam meshicha is for the purpose of the al Mayib. How did it work? Before Yeshio hid the Shemin HaMishcha, so you anointed a Kohen Gadol, right? You anointed him. We had the Gemara, Sanhedrin, a king does, we had it here in this Masechta, a king doesn't have to be anointed, only the first king, the Malki Yehuda. We ask questions, what if then this one, only because of Machlokes, they did that one, it could have been Rabbi Pesachim. Anyway, so over here, the purpose, when it says that he wears the begadim, he's the one who does the avodah, is the one whose Meshicha was for that purpose, to wear it all the time. The Meshicha of the Meshuch Melchama was for the purpose of giving a speech, and more than a speech, They don't tell you that, that Gemara, it's a Gemara in Saita. They give you this whole nice speech. You get married, go home. You plant in the vineyard, go home. Everything's against geschmack, right? If you're scared, go home. You know what? And then afterwards, once you sign up, there's guys who wait in the back, and if you start retreating, they take an axe and they chop your feet off. Because if you retreat more, it causes people panic. You can't fight. Okay, a little side point. Anyway, a digression from a digression to a digression. Now, so very geschmack. So therefore, since his Ikka Mashiach was Mishum Melchama, Melawat, his son doesn't take his place. Meisivei, Meshuach Melchama, Ein Mishamish. The Mishum Melchama does not use Loi Ba'arba Kikayin Hedyet, the Loi B'Shmari Kikayin Gadol. So l'chayra, you see that what? Not like Rev Dimi that says he's mishamish with the eight begadim, right? So guys, what is he mishamish with? If he doesn't use the 4, he doesn't use the 8. What does he do?
It doesn't work.
No, I'm saying, like, what does that mean? So Amalei Abaya, Ela Zar Mash V'Slei. You made him into a zar. You make him into a non-entity. Says the Gemara, Ela Kikayin Gadol, right? He's only Ela Kikayin Gadol Mishum Eva. The reason he doesn't use the 8, the Kohen Gadol Mishum Eva, Kikayin Hedi Mishum Ma'ila B'Kodesh Lemaridin. Okay, so Geshmak, guys, listen up. The MS, he really should wear 8 begadim. The reason he's not Mishamish begadim is the Kohen Gadol, it's going to cause him pain. Look, he's wearing the same garments as I'm wearing. So it's going to cause a little hatred, a little animosity among the ranks. So therefore not. He doesn't wear 4 like a Kohen Hedyet because Ma'ila B'Kodesh, you go up in Kedusha V'Lei Maridin. Once he's been the Meshuch Melchama and he can wear it, he's not going to go ahead. It's a higher status than Stamach Kohen, right? We're going to see a day that a person who Retzach that kills Meshogeg would go free upon the death of Meshuch Melchama. There's such an opinion. So you see, it's much higher than a Kohen Hedyet. Yeah, so very geschmack. When it says over here, not like a Kohen Gadol 8 and not like 4, it doesn't mean he is not supposed to wear 8. He doesn't wear 8. Really, Midaraisa he should wear 8. Mishum Eva, because of making the Kohen Gadol feel bad, he doesn't go. He doesn't wear it. But in Achinami, Rav Dimi was correct in saying that he wears 8 begadim. 8 begadim. Mishum Eva not. Fred the Gemara, Amalei Ravad Barav L'Rava, the high Tana, the Leslie Eva, like Leveloy Kamishamesh. Okay, we're gonna have a long brisa, guys. Guys, we're gonna have a long brisa. In the brisa, I'm going to point out to you that the Tanakam, this brisa does not hold the Eva, yet it holds that the Kohen Meshuch Muhammad does not wear the 8 begadim. Again, you're telling me really he should wear 8. The reason he doesn't wear 8 is because of what? Of Eva. I'm going to show you that this brisa does not hold of Eva, and still he doesn't wear 8. So it's a good teretz on it's a good kasha on this teretz. Okay, says the Gemara. Where do we see this? The Tanya. You're going to go through, guys, different milas that the Kohen Gadol has over Kohen Hedyet and the Kohen Hedyet has go through different halachas. Very interesting review of halachas. Okay, par not Kohen Mashiach, but the gra is Goyus over here is par haba akola mitzvahs. Take out Kohen Mashiach. The par that comes all mitzvahs, meaning the Kohen Gadol, he's going to go ahead and bring a special par. If he blows it for an Issachar, he brings a par. If we blow an Issachar, we bring a sira, chatas. He brings a par. So that's par bal mitzvah meaning it's a of karis. Upar Yom Kippurim. That's what we just spent this Masechta doing. There's sira seifa the mechus chavitin of the Kohen Gadol that he brings once in the morning, once in the afternoon. Like Poirea, again, Kohen Gadol cannot let his hair grow in Avelis. Like Poirim, he doesn't rip his clothing in Avelis. Avol Poirim hu milmata, he rip a little bit below. For a hedyet milmaila, and the hedyet rips from above. They mitama lekroivav. The Kohen Gadol is not able to mitama the relatives that were mitama for. Umitzaba ala basula, he's mitzuba to marry a basula. He can't marry a person who's not a basula. Umuzar al ha'almana. He's warned not to marry almana. Umachzer eser etzeach, upon his death, the etzeach who killed b'shogeg goes free. Umakriv oinin, the kohen gadol does the avodah when mat. He's an oinin the day of death for the kfura of one of those relatives. Ve'ina oichel, ve'ina chaylik, right? He does not eat when he's an oinin. He doesn't take a piece of the action when he's an oinin. Ve'noitin chelik baroish, but if he wants to get a piece of the action, no matter if the mishmeres and Beis Av is serving, he can go ahead and take it. Umakriv chelik baroish, he can cut the line and do the avodah. Umishamish b'shmoina kelim, and he's mishamish b'shmoina kelim. Upoter al tumas mikdash gedashav. It means he doesn't bring a carbon. He doesn't bring in Gemara in Harius, guys. He doesn't bring a carbon. If a person goes to b'shoigeg, tumas mikdash gedashav, finds out about it, means a koil of yoyred. He doesn't. Okay, so this is the chilik between a kohen gadol and a kohen heged. The kula nahagas b'meruba b'begadim. Okay, now when Yoshiyahu hid the Shemin HaMishcha, fellas, how did they appoint the kohen gadol? Yoshiyahu, we said, along with the Aron, Yoshiyahu hid certain objects, right? The Shemin HaMishcha, the Tzenes Haman, the Mata Shel Aaron, the gift that the Pelishtim sent back. Yeah. So now, how did they go ahead and make a kohen gadol? They did it by adding on to the begadim, meruba begadim. They added on. They added on to the 4. They added another 4. Good. So now, is there any distinction between the kohen gadol who has been appointed kohen gadol as through the Shemin HaMishcha, or one that's meruba begadim? Right. Para bala mitzvahs, that para, he will not bring that para. And all of them were noig b'mishuach she'avar, a retired kohen gadol. So guys, retired kohen gadol, he's wearing what? The what? Here's the key. He's wearing the shemona begadim, correct? You got a retired kohen gadol here, yeah? He's wearing the shemona begadim. The kula and the haggis. Everything I mentioned above is noig by this kohen, including what? Including wearing the begadim. So what do you see? This price holds. You don't hold of Ava. Because if you hold of Ava, the kohen gadol should be jealous. Here I have another kohen wearing the shemona begadim, right? You hear? Guys, this is the key to the kasha. Guys, you have to get this point. One more time. Even after he's retired, if he does the avodah, he does the shemona begadim. Now, the key to here is you see from here you're not chayish for Ava, because if you chayish for Ava, how could you let him wear what? The shemona begadim? Yeah? Okay. Hang in there. Hang in there. But again, right now you see that what? That he's wearing the shemona begadim. And the kasher is, if I'm worried about the sensitivity of the kohen gadol having another person wear the other 8, and that's why the Meshuach Muhammad can't wear it, so this person shouldn't be able to wear it too. He's retired. He's an emeritus. He's not a kohen gadol anymore, right? That's the point. Guys, you with me? I mean, I'm not convinced just because I speak louder. You understand better. You understand? You know, the people say, you have these teachers who yell at you. They think you understood it better. Yeah. Again, I just want you to. I don't want to tear it yet. As long as you hear a kasha, guys. You hear a kasha. In other words, so you didn't hear a kasha yet. So far, what do we have? We have established that this Tana of this Brisa must not hold of Ava because you have someone wearing the Shemona Begadim in the lifetime of another kohen gadol. That's all I want to build up. Now, the Kula Chutz Mipar Yom Kippurim, he doesn't bring the Par Yom Kippur, the Meredith. Vasir Seif, he doesn't bring the Chavitin. The Kulon and everything we mentioned, Eino Haggis b'Meshuach Mulchama, including what, guys? Including not wearing the 8 begadim, right? Guys, right? Including not wearing the 8 begadim. Chutz michamisha devarim amurim b'parsha. Like Pareya, the kohen Meshuach can't take a haircut. Like Pyrim, can rip his clothing. Like Metam Lakroivov, Umitzav al Besuli, also has Maria Besula, Umuzar al Amana, and he's also warned he has Marimana, Umaxas, the Reitzech, the Rei Chachamim, or Yehuda, bottom line is, guys, it says that this is not noyig by the Meshuach Muhammad, meaning the 8 begadim is not noyig, correct? So what you're going to tell me because of Ava? This Tanakama doesn't hold of Ava. Why? Because we're allowing the Kohen Gadol Emeritus to wear it. So your teretz that you gave earlier is not a good teretz. Mamelit Shver and Ravdimi. How can you say the Meshuach Muhammad is midaraisa? Where's 8? And the reason he doesn't wear it is because of Ava. Here, clearly, you see this, there is no Ava. And nonetheless, what? He doesn't wear it. And for the Gemara, Ari's teretz, maybe Avrami Branka's teretz, he less lay Ava bid the Kavas say. When there's the Ava, when there's no Ava, when it's a contemporary. Bid the Zutmi na Yislay. In other words, this person is a contemporary. He was a Kohen Gadol. He was a Kohen Gadol. When if someone is an equal, there's no jealousy. You're equal. Masha'en Kain, if this person is less than me, here is the Shulchan Milchama. Clearly, he doesn't do the Avodah Yom Kippur. Clearly, he doesn't bring a Minchas Chavitin, right?
How about the Kohen that becomes puzzle on Yom Kippur?
The Sagan.
He steps up and does the thing. Then he doesn't wear the.
Afterward, we said that he was machlokes whether what status is he? Does he go back to being Kohen Hedyot or not?
But it's an Ava over there.
Okay, same thing. Okay, now, so and for the Gemara, so ki lesle eva with the kavase, but the sutamine lesle eva. Yosef Rav Avahu, the Kamalo Shmaitza. Rav Avahu was sitting, fellas, and he said over the same sugya. Mamish b'shmeid Rabbi Yochanan, that what? That Rav Dimi said the Meshuach Milchama, if he serves in the Beis Hamikdash, where's the Shemaina Begadim? That's what he said. Hadrinu Rebbe Ami v'Ravasi lapayu. Their body language was one of Rabbi Yochanan. Rashi says Rabbi Yochanan didn't say this. He couldn't have said this. You hear this chiddush and they went like, so. Ikadi Ami Rav Chia bar Abba Amra. It wasn't Rav Avo who said it. It was Rav Chia bar Abba who said it. Vadrinu Rav Ami Ravasi, and the same people, Rav Ami Ravasi, say Hajul Apai, they turn their faces around. Maskul Rav Papa, Gamal Kasha, Bishleim Rav Avo. The reason why they didn't go ahead, they just body languaged away and they didn't take him on directly. Mishum Yakara de Bekesa, because of what the Yakar, the covet that the Bekesa gave Rav Avo. Rav Avo was very, very. He was not just Jews. He was a very handsome guy. We said the beauty of Bavo. He was a very, very impressive young man. Oh, well, anyway, so that they didn't answer him. But Masha Enkain El Rabchia Baraba Nimru La Meimar Lo Yom Rabbi Hachi. They should have said Rabbi Yochanan never said this. And there was a fine on them. They didn't say anything. So, but right now we're saying from the Gemara we have Rav Dimi saying that he was mishamish with 8 begadim if he did the avodah. We have Rav Avo or Rav Chia bar Abba reporting the same thing, and we have Rav Ami Ravasi clearly disagreeing that Rabbi Yochanan wouldn't have said such a thing. And Ki Asa Ravin, who also often, like Rav Dimi, would come back from Eretz Yisrael and report the teachings of Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Nishal Itmar. Not that he wore the 8 begadim when he served. He wore the 8 begadim when he asked from the Urim V'Tumim. When you asked from the Urim V'Tumim, he wore it. Says Rashi. Nisholin Itmar. Ki Aser Ravin Amar. 5 lines up. Lav Mishamesh Behem Itmar. Don't learn that what? That the Meshuach Milchama did 8 begadim when he did the Avodah. Ela Nishal Behem. When he asked from it, Itmar. Begadim shekoyin gadlim mishamish behen Meshuach Milchama nishal k'shiyotz l'milchama. He would go ahead and ask from the Urim V'Tumim before he went to war. So he's permitted to go ahead and do it. So therefore, that's a horse of a different color, right? To ask from the Urim V'Tumim, you had to be wearing what the begadim. So therefore, Meshuach Milchama had a lacha of a person who was permitted to ask from the Urim V'Tumim, and so forth. So now comes out Rav Dimi and Ravin reporting 2 different things. Rav Dimi reporting b'shas he did work, and Rav Avin clearly saying that what only b'shas maniyas. Tanya nami hachi the God Meshuach Gadol Mishamish ben Meshuach Milchama nishal behem. Mamish often like openly the 8 begadim that the Kohen Gadol wore the Meshuach Milchama asked them. Tanrabanan Kate said Shoylin, how did he ask them the Urim V'Tumim? So the rest of the shir is going to be guys discussing the Urim V'Tumim, exactly what the Urim V'Tumim was. We'll get to, and there's a few mices over here, guys. Let's go through a few mices. We're going to see the Urim V'Tumim. You have to, you don't ask halacha to the Urim V'Tumim. That you have a sanhedrin for. You ask Urim V'Tumim futuristic events. What will happen? That's what you ask in the Urim V'Tumim. So the events over here is David being on the run from Shaul, and asking if the people of the city are going to give him over. David coming back to finding the city of Tsiklag, having his wife and his children, and his men's wife and children, they were taken and captured by the Amalekim. And David asked the Urim Tumim, should he chase after them and will he get them? Okay. Then we have the Urim Tumim being asked to by the battle of Giva, Pelegish Begiva, should they go to war or not? And from these three incidents, we're going to extrapolate different ways of asking from the Urim Tumim. And then we'll conclude the share with exactly what the Urim Tumim was. Okay, let's see what we got. So what does it say? Says the Gemara. Ketzat Shoylin, Hashoyl Ponav Klape Nishal. The one asking face is opposite the one he's asking from. So the Shoyl is asking the opposite the Kohen Gadol, or the one wearing the Shmona Begadim. The Hanishal Ponav Klape Shchina. And the one that's wearing it, his face is Klape the Shchina. Hashoyl Oimer. Now, Klape the Shchina is very interesting. Heshi said Klape the Orin. Heshi was quoting the Rambam. Heshi was quoting the Rambam. Rashi does not say that. If you look up from Rashi, 3 lines from the bottom, Klape Shchina, Klape Urim V'Tumim, V'Shemam M'Foirish B'Toich HaChoyshin. Rashi holds, guys, the Urim V'Tumim was a piece of parchment that had the Shemam M'Foirish written on it, and it was slid between the folding. The Choyshin, the Choyfe was an amma like this. If you folded it, was a half amma. You folded it up. You slid it in between here. So his face, according to this, was like this. You'd ask him, and his face would be down, facing towards the Shechina, meaning the Shemam of Foirish that was on his chest. Okay, that so Heshi, you heard is the Orin, that's the Rambam. Over here, this is which would explain a little better, because according to you, you'd be limited to asking Dafka in the Beis Hamikdash. Yeah. And we're going to see David asks, he's nowhere near the Beis Hamikdash. So therefore, it would make sense that at least he's facing something like this. Now, Hashoyel Oimer, the Shoyel says, Erdoif, Achri HaGedur Azeh, shall I chase after the Gedud? This is like quoting with the Maisa with David. David said, shall I go after the Amalekim? The initial Oimer, and the one that he asked from, would answer, Koyamar Hashem, Alei Vetzliach, go up and you'll be successful. If you do Oimer, ain't Sarch Loimer Koyamar Hashem. Obviously, who's talking? You don't have to say Hashem. Alei Vetzliach, go you'll be Vetzliach. So that's one thing. The way you asked. The Shoyel is facing the Nishal is facing, according to Rashi, is facing the looking down into the shame. Ain't Shoyel and Bekoil, you don't ask loudly. Shenemar, the Shol Loy. I mean, Loy, only he can hear. However, V'loy Mahara Belibo, you can't just think. Shenemar v'Shol Loy, L'fnei Hashem. Elakeder Shomer Chana B'Tfilas, like Chana did not tefillah, which is very, very interesting, because we're going to Chana in the tefillah, Elias and Urim Tumim, exactly what the story is with this woman. We're going to get into that as well. Shenemar. The Chana he midaberes aliba. Chana was speaking. She was speaking to, meaning she was speaking very softly. People used to daven very loudly. They had stolen the year round. You know, guys ever daven stolen? Ever go pissed by stolen? Yes. So it was very, 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 very quiet. But ain't shoylin. So therefore, that's the way you ask, like Chana. Ain't shoylin shnei devarim keachad. You only ask 2 things at once. Then shoylin, if you do, ein machzirin ela echad. It'll only answer 1. The ein machzirin lo yela rishain, and only ask the first one. Shinemar. So again, David wants to know if the people in Keila will give him up to Shaul. So he goes, Hayiskereni. Now Shaul didn't come down yet. So what should the first question be? Will Shaul come? And B, if Shaul comes, will they give me over? But what did David ask her? What did David ask? Will Shaul give me up? Will they give him over? You don't know if Shaul's going to be there. So he asked him correctly. Shenemar hayiskereni balakila biyadai. Then hayeret Shaul. Vayomer Hashem yeret. Hashem's going to come down. Right? So it's only answer the first question. It says David Shaul shalai kaseda yachziru like kaseda. In other words, if he asked in order, he would have answered the first one. The Urim V'Tumim grammatically corrects you, right? He went ahead and he answered the question. Yeah, he's going to come down. The Kivin Sheyada Shal Seder, since he saw David knew that he didn't ask Seder from the answer. Chazav Shal Keseder. He went ahead and he asked correctly. Shnemar What do you say? Hayiskareni balakila. I see this anshe biyad shol. Vayom Hashem yaskiru. So he asked it again. And he told me it. Now the mechutzra chadava, meaning if the time is of the essence, the shnayim machzir. So then what? We'll answer two questions. Shneimar vayishal David ba'Hashem lemor ha'erdorf achri hagedur hazeh. Should I chase after this gedud? Hayasigenu? Will I go ahead and get them? Should I chase after them and will I attain them? So he has two things. A, will I chase after them? B, will I get them? Chase, ki hasig tasig, v'hatzel tatzel. And that's the hoya, they saved everybody. And another din about doing v'tumim, even though a navi says something, it can go back and be changed. The gezer doing v'tumim never changes. Shnemar, the mishpat urim, the mishpat of the urim. Lama nikra shmon urim v'tumim, urim shemeirin es devrayim, urim because the words are enlightened, tumim shemashlimim es devrayim, because the words of what are they're done. Then time if you'll ask, they give us Binyamin, they went to battle 3 days in a row. If they why didn't they? Why wasn't it true? So Haim Shlei Bichnu, they didn't ask correctly. The first days they asked, should we go to war? Shenemar, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKoyin, Omer Lefana b'Yom Mehem, Lemar, Ha'isef Oid Lasis L'Chama im Bnei Binyamin, Achi, im Echtal, v'Yom Hashem Olu, Ki Mocher Nenu B'Yadcha. No, the first days they asked, should we go to war? Then they asked, will be Matzliach Not. Just where we go. They say, yeah, go. So, should we fight? Yeah. But now, Ketzad Nasis, how did the Urim Tumim work? Rabbi Yochanan says, Baltois, the letters would protrude. The letters, you'd ask the Urim Tumim would protrude. They shlokashoma mitztarfois. They look at Rashi. This is really wild. Mitztarfois. It's in the Rashi of Boltais. Ha'isi is Boltais k'gein ayin mishimayin lamed milevi heimi Yehuda loymar Allah. V'chol achas eina zazim koma. It didn't go ahead and leave. Ela Boltais v'm koma v'hu mitzarfa. They lit up and he was mitzarf them. But late Reish Lakish they moved. You see, they moved and you had to go ahead and figure it out.
Bowling kind of expanded.
Okay.
So that moved. I mean, it was.
Hesh, the other letters move down. That's moving. Says the Gemara, "V'haloi k'siv b'hu tzaddik." So I'm Shmuel Yitzchak, Avram Yitzchak v'Yakov k'siv shama. I'm moving stone. It was written Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. V'haloi k'siv tes. I'm Ravacha v'Yakov shifte Yeshurun k'siv sham. They wrote on the stone of Binyamin shifte Yeshurun sham. There's a very geschmacka. Guys, Bali Taisvis in Vayechi. Says that that Yaakov Avinu wanted to go ahead and reveal the Kates to his sons, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu hid it from him. So he said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he goes, "You look at my sons. There's no Chet, there's no Ches, there's no Tes, there's no Chet." So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, "You look among them also. There's no Kates either. There's no covenant of tzaddik." So he goes, "I said you don't play word games with HaKadosh Baruch Hu." So this is this is the Gemara. You're missing the ches, you're missing the tes, you're missing these letters. So you have to come up with the letters. You have Avram Yitzchak Yaakov, and you have Shifte Yeshurin to go ahead and fill it in. Okay, Amar Mesave Kol Koyin she'enim enim medaber Ruach HaKodesh. Any koyin that can't speak Ruach HaKodesh, u'shchina shoyer love ain't shoylam by. Shol. So when David was running away from Avshalom, Tzaddik HaKoyin and Avyasa was there. So Shol Tzaddik v'Alsalai Avyasa v'Alsalai. Avyasa asked from the Urim V'Tumim and it wasn't answered, and Tzaddik asked and it was answered. So they took Avyasa down because the raya that what Shenemar Vayal Avyasa at time, and Avyasa was meaning it took him down. So you got a kasha, guys. Why are you telling me, Rabbi Yochanan, that it's Boltois? Why do you tell me Reish Lakish is Mitzdarfois? You see, it's Baruch HaKodesh, right? It's Baruch HaKodesh. So my answer is Siyum Messiah. Says Rashi, Koyin Bahadei Urim V'Tumim. The Koyin would help the Urim V'Tumim. Hilkach in Koyin Kasha Haya for Roy Lishroy Shlin Olav. Oisi is Boltois. Oy Mitzdarfois. In other words, if it was Roy, then they would go ahead and be Mitzdarf, or they would be Boltois. Al Yadai Kishin Ishlein Bay. From Lav Lay Boltois Lay Mitzdarfois. Okay. Let's before we finish the parak, take a look. I have I look at your phones, guys. Your phones. I put a picture on the phone I have it on here on the screen. It's a fascinating ritva. How you learn pshat in this Indian. Okay, let me get this smaller. Okay, exactly what was the Urim V'Tumim, guys? What exactly was the Urim V'Tumim, right? So it says you have a Hodar Mina Urim V'Tumim, the very give me my face, I'll give you. Hadar Minan, this is the Ritva, guys. Urim V'Tumim, Shemesham is the Vayim, Kachu Inyan. Ki Urim V'Tumim, Pirish Rashi Zal, Shehin Ksav, Shemam Afirish, She Haya Noisnai B'Seich Kaplei HaChayshen. It was placed between the fold of the Chayshen. Ki HaChayshen Haya Archei Amma, the length of the Chayshen was an Amma, V'Rach Boi Zeres, and its width was a half an Amma. When you would fold it, then Anas says Zeres would be a half an amma by a half an amma. Because of Shem Mefarish Bein HaKeflayim, they write the Shem Mefarish between the folds. Shal Yidei Hashem Hahu Meya. Through that, it illuminated the Varav. The words of Hashem was the words illuminated. Umetamim, my son, and it would be metamim would be making them pure, meaning they would occur, they would happen. Now, the Ritva learns like the Rambam guys. Urim v'Tumim were two different things. There's Urim and Tumim. Urim shemeirim es nevayim, and Tumim shemetamim es nevayim. In other words, they're perfect. So there's two aspects. The Urim was asking, and it would appear. The Tumim was the interpretation of it. How to interpret what appeared. This continue to read for guys. It's fascinating. So therefore, ukashay kohen gadol machavim b'chelik echad min Hashem, hahu shenikru umim, hayaboltim min ha'oisiyos aksuvos ba'avonim, oisiyos sheish behem tshuvas le'shalasei. Oisiyos that possibly can go ahead and answer his question. Oisiyos that possibly can go ahead what and answer his question. Kish starfu, when you go ahead what and you go ahead and you combine them. So you hear, guys, he's learning that when they boil it and then you mitzaref them. They would come opposite his eyes, mixed up, like jumble. It would be jumble. What's called what? The tumim, ahu shenikra tumim, and they would go spell out something. Therefore, you needed in the avonim all the aleph base. Rabbi Yochanan Omar Boltois, Veishlokish Omar Mitztarfois, Umar Amachadu, Umar Amachadu Le Pligi. Mar Amachadu, Yehuda is coming, Rabbi Yochanan is coming to explain the Urim, and Reish Lakish is coming to explain the Tumim. The fascinating shot. Guys, fascinating shot. He's learning his two chalokim. So they're not coming to argue. Now, the Velt doesn't look like the Ritva, but it's such a fascinating way, the Urim V'Tumim, and it explains such a difficult Indian. You might be familiar, on Rosh Hashanah, we are very famous, we lay in the Shiras Chana. So you know the story of Chana. There was a man, Elkanah, he was a Navi. He had two wives, Chana and Penina. But Penina had children, Chana had no children. Chana was Tzebrachin, and she was davening. She went to daven in Shiloi. And Eli was what? Eli was the Kohen Gadol at that time. Eli's watching this woman davening. We just saw on the Yom Aleph, right? Davening with all this kavanah. Davening with all this kavanah. He saw on the Yom Aleph. And he was wondering, what's the story with this woman? What's the story with this woman? So he asked the Urim V'Tumim what the story is. He turns to the Chana and says, how long are you going to be drinking? How long are you going to be drinking? Because to him, it came up, Shikoira, Shin Chaf Reish Hey. Shikoira, that's what he read. Chana according to the Gemara in Daf Lamed Aleph and Brachas, gives him a zog. Like you're asking for him, you have no Ruach HaKodesh. You saw the letters, but you don't have to starve the letters. This is the Vilna Gaon. How are you with starve the letters? You read it as Shikaira, Shin Chaf Reishei. The letters really spelled out Kishera or Kisara. Either way, Kishera, Kisara. So I was wondering, according to how can they blow it, right? How can they blow it? Now it's geschmack as anything how they can blow it. If you don't have Ruach HaKodesh, the letters could be there, but you're not going to go ahead and unjumble them in the right way. They're not going to speak to you. It's like a geschmack of a shot, right? It explains how the Gemara in Lamed Aleph, how you could have made that mistake. So it really is an amazing thing that the Ritva and the Ritva and based upon his Rabbi, because the Ramban had a Talmud the Rashba had a Talmud the Ritva. That's the Messiah, and Ritva had a Talmud the Ran. That's the Sfardish Messiah of Gedali Arishayim. And the Galus of Ramban is he learned by the Bali Taisus. And so Ramban, he was a Sfardi. He learned he learned in the Ashkenazi yeshiva. So it was like he's. I think so. I could be wrong. Could be I be speaking about the Rush. Check that. I'm sure, but what I just told you is correct. Okay. Anyway, L'chala Pachas.
The thing is that Shmuel was a Navi, but it didn't have a Kodesh.
Again, who Shmuel? Elkanah. Yeah, again, no, just because you're Navi doesn't mean you're being formed of or everything. Yes, it doesn't mean you're being formed of everything. But I think it's such a wonderful interpretation of what it is. That's a real chiddush. If you're interested in this stuff, there's a Ibn Ezra who says the Urim V'Tumim was some type of kli made by an umen. It was made by an umen. It was made by a craftsman. Now we had this Taisvis. I spoke at this Taisvis when we did it because I'm fascinated by the Urim V'Tumim. Daf Chaf Aleph, guys. Chaf Aleph on the base. Huh? Oh, your art school?
Let's go back.
In volume 1, okay, guys, listen. We said in the Mishkan, the difference in Bias Rishon and Bias Sheni. In Bias, there were things in Bias Rishon that were not in Bias Sheni. Right? The Aron wasn't there, the Shechina wasn't there, Ruach HaKodesh wasn't there, the Urim Tumim wasn't there. One of the things that says the Urim Tumim, Freg Toisvis, Urim Tumim, right? Urim Tumim Hava, it had to be there. Shem Loikein, Kohen Gadol Mechus of the Gadim. If the Kohen Gadol wasn't there, how guys? Anyone's Mechus of the Gadim, the avoid this psula. So it had to be that it had it, right? That's Toisvis is. So it says Toisvis it was there. So what does it mean it wasn't there? It didn't answer. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. So it's very interesting. The Ravid, on the other hand, the many people hold that it wasn't a kli. According to Rashi, it's not a kasha, guys. What was it? It was the. It doesn't say among the Shemanim of God. It doesn't say Betunim. He holds what? He says, Rashi says, with a piece of parchment put in. Says the Ritva was a piece of parchment put in. That's not a kli. So the kasha doesn't even begin. The kasha doesn't begin. So it wasn't even Mechus of God. I'm going to eat begodim. Toisvis held epish that I don't know what Toisvis Ken Zayin. Toisvis did not hold it was what that it was a piece of parchment. It could be. He didn't hold that way. I mean, it was just fun, fascinating. Okay, let's finish up. How do you know only the king can ask no tumim or Misha Shivat Sarach Amar Bavo Dama Kro Lefnei Elazar Koyin Yamud V'Sholoi B'Mishpar Ornan, and he stood. This was Yeshua, and Yeshua didn't have a melech. Who's El Melech? Uchal Bnei Yisrael I say Zem Meshuach Muchama Uchal Eda Zu Sanhedrin. So we dash in Lefnei Elazar Koyin Yamud V'Sholoi B'Mishpar Ornan. Who Zeh Melech? Uchal Bnei Yisrael is Isai. Itay, Zeh Meshuach Muchama, V'Chol Eda Susan Hedge. What does the whole pasuk say? I don't have the pasuk over here, guys. What does it say? V'Chol L'fnei Elazar Koyin Yamed B'Shar. What does it say? Okay, so that's it. It says who? So who's Melech and Kohen Yisrael Itay is Meshuach Muchama K'niyas V'Chol Eda Susan Hedge that the Ad Bezdin K'niyas. We're going to stop here. The next parak is it's a whole new Indian. Whoever's here tomorrow night will be nice.